Hello everyone, it's Penelope and it is Saturday evening and I've been watching the news and I think that this is very important. Um, you know, Preppers, we were prepared for some of the medical stuff that came through with the crud. We were prepared with some of the food issues and toilet paper issues and product issues and things. We were prepared for that. This is where I would say if I was a city living prepper, I would practice my bug out scenario right now. I would pack up what I need and I would take my family or everyone in my household, I would be taking them to a place that was safer than the city streets. We've dealt with the crud. Now we're dealing with this riot situation. This is where I think it is important for people to be prepared to leave a situation or an area in that situation. Now, I live out in the middle of nowhere, so it would not be as crucial for me to have a bug out situation. But what I'm telling you is this is where I think that people who live within the cities or in the areas that are going to be affected by these riots, um, I would practice my bug out scenario situation and I would leave. Um, find a park, go camping for the weekend, or you know, maybe you have another safe house or something like that. But if you're not a prepper, this is one of those times where you should have your totes of clothing and personal products ready to rock and roll, your food products ready to rock and roll, your pets needs to ready to rock and roll. This is one of those situations where the bug out bag, all of your gear and totes and things like that, your bucket preparedness, you need to look into that so that you could get out of one of these situations. It's escalating and escalating, and I took a break and I wanted to get this message out here because if I were living in one of those areas, Chicago, Pennsylvania, even Cincinnati, which is close. I'm in the greater Cincinnati area. I would bug out. So, as a prepper, I would say this would be one of those scenarios where you would want to have your bug out gear and packs ready to rock and roll. Totes, buckets, backpacks, whatever you have, I would be leaving the city area. It's crazy times in the United States right now. We're still dealing with the crud, and I still think that there's going to be more escalation of that as well. Um, and then you have all of these people rioting and causing chaos, and I understand that. But last week or the week before last, it was protesters against staying home because they felt that their rights were being taken away. Well, to those protesters, I would say that your rights do not supersede someone else's rights to be healthy and stay safe from you spreading a disease. But these protesters, let me not say that. Not the protesters, the rioters, the looters, the vandals. Protesting is the way that we know how to um, put our foot forward and say what we feel. But these are not protests at this point. These are riots. And, from what I've heard, there are different groups coming in, people from other states coming in, and they're just wanting to escalate this violence. But if I lived in one of those areas, this would be one of those times where I would definitely bug out, or I would make certain that my area was secure. Um, when you have fires going on, they can move from one building to another. That would scare the hell out of me. Um, just that in general is kind of what I wanted to say. So if you don't have bug out gear and you live in the city, this is one of those instances where you might want to check out how to pack up your buckets, your totes, your bags, have an escape plan from the city areas. And all I can say is if you plan to stay there, please be safe. Um, this message is due to me watching the news today. You all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. And if you know people that live in those areas, maybe call them and say, hey, come stay with me. I would not want my family or friends in those areas. If someone called me and said, hey, I need to bug out, I'd be like, bug out right out here. That'd be fine with me. Pitch a tent in the backyard if you want. Bring your family. Camp out there. You might have to cut it with a machete, but come on out. Um, yeah, this is one of those situations where a bug out bag and your equipment is very much worthwhile to have. Just a little tidbit. You all, happy days are soon to come, I hope. Bye. Hugs from a distance.